found out that we had, I believe,
Just kidding.
we had, this is what we had yesterday, $8,624.18. That would have been our total of all of the things, or all of the running total that we had, that's the grand total. And then we knew that there was 31 days in August. So if you take this divided by this, I believe we got $278.20. Everybody on the same page? Okay. Then we went and the percentage that we had, we took, I think it was 1.6%. I'm not mistaken. And we want to turn this into our monthly statement. So this was a monthly, so we can use this right away. We just have to still move the decimal. So you would use 0.016.
Why don't you divide it by 12?
Because they tell you that it is a monthly one in the book. You know what I'm saying? So they don't say it's an APR, they say it's a monthly periodic rate.
Alright.
So if it is an APR, then I would have to divide by 12 still. That makes sense to everybody? So take this 0.016 times my 278.20, and this is going to give me my what?
I don't even know what we're looking for.
Say it again? Exactly right. This is going to get me my finance charge. So I'm going to multiply those things together, and if you do the math, you should get $4.45. Okay? And as Chloe just said, this right here is my finance charge. That's how much I'm charged for interest for that cycle.
Dude, what page is this?
145. Yes, sir.
Since this one's like so much work, why would people use this over like the previous balance number?
As again, I'd say you personally would probably never do this. This would be how the businesses would do it. So they'd have some guy or a formula that they would probably put it in there and it's gonna lickety split and do it anyway. But they would just then show you what it is in that process. That makes sense? So you're probably never gonna do this at home. Unless you wanted to see if they were screwing you on your bill.
What they'd really show you though is the 278.20.
Right.
The-
Right, so they would end up showing you this,
Okay.
and then you would know that this is how they got your finance charge from. Exactly right.
So that number, that's how they got the.
Right.
I have a question, kind of, it's separate from this, but it's this class, so, like, if it, in my bank account, and the interest, if it says like 0.15%, when I'm calculating, I use my number, and then what decimal place do I push it back to? Just 2 decimal places?
So that would be 0.0015.
Okay.
Yes. You're still gonna move it 2 places. And that would be a regular, interest rate for, it's probably a saving or a checking account.
No, it's my savings.
Oh, you're saving? Well, it just depends. I mean, right now, the rates are horrible everywhere, just because of the times that we're in, and we don't really know what they're gonna do. So, then we would go through, and if you had your running total from, yesterday, what was the running total that we had, I believe, in this column right here?
Every number?
Nope.
Oh, yeah, no, mine's wrong, no, it's that.
What? Nope.
1,870?
267.15. So, 267.15, we got that, does everybody see 216 or 67.15 on yours?
Yeah.
So that would have been, or maybe it was actually way over here, this column, about the second column. Whenever we did any transactions along the way, the last thing in your, column should have been 267.15. So if we added on more purchases or we made a payment or something, okay? So that's your running total right now. I take that number and add my $4.45 to it. So my next balance that I would use is this amount.
So we did that whole chart thing just to get $4.45.
Yes. Awesome.
That is
Exactly.
my kind of math.
Well, no, it isn't
And we'll
because
never
you
have to
screwed
do
it up
this,
like.
so.
Oh yeah, give your calculator to someone. Give it to Jeff today. Jeff, you're using Donald's calculator to prove that it's Donald and not the calculator, because he's adamant that it's the calculator.
It is actually the calculator.
Well, then
I'll
Jeff
feel
will be
bad.
wrong today, and then we'll all apologize, especially me. But all right, so does that make sense?
In dollars.
It's kind of weird because we didn't finish the problem. We can go over B, or we can go to do C and D, and it's kind of the same process.
So basically,
Can't we just,
you just go for it.
well, can't we just do the same exact way that we were doing before?
No, because you don't know that
The daily.
7,
Right.
8, 20.
So this is honestly, if you would want to know what it is per day, you could figure out your finance charge throughout the month in a sense. That's the difference with this process.
Well, yeah.
Because if I wanted to do it like halfway through to figure out what this number was, then I would have done the same exact thing, but my total would have been way smaller. And instead of 31 going through the whole process, we would have used a different number down here. And so my number would have been down, or cut it in half, essentially. You know what I'm saying? So, let's try C or D, because it's the same process, but there's one little thing that's included in this.
What page are we on?
145-ish, somewhere around there. So notice up here. Credit card companies, so the difference between the problems. Notice A and B, you're basically talking about your personal one. In C and D, it says that in C and D though, they're talking about the credit card company doing the same thing. So the credit card company that uses a daily average balance, sometimes it's the same exact thing, but they do not include new purchases in their process. So some of the credit card companies, now this isn't all the time, so they would have to tell you that it is a credit card company uses the daily instead of just your credit card statement. And I know that's confusing. So, what I'm getting at is, if it says that, you would have to just recognize that it's not going to use your statement, or any of your purchases. You're only going to do your payments and credits on that chart that we filled out. So again, this would be good for you because your purchases wouldn't be included on it. Right? So if you notice,
Can we do one of those?
same thing. Say it again.
Can we do one of those?
Yes. So look at letter C on page 146. Everybody turn the page. In January, Lincoln's credit card statement has a beginning balance of $498.67. So again, this guy right here is already kind of behind the ball, right? He's $500 in the hole, essentially. Okay? He made a payment of $200 on the 25th of the month. If the credit card company uses an average daily balance method excluding new purchases, so again, they would tell you that specifically in the problem, with a monthly periodic rate of 1.5%, what are the finance charges? So essentially, we're doing the exact same thing, we're just not paying attention to the purchases. So again, this would be my previous balance. And I don't remember the date, sorry. Somebody help me?
Is the 25th?
25th?
25th is the.
That's when he made his payment.
Yeah, what date, what month are we in?
It doesn't
January.
January, all right, so we're in January. 1/1. Previous balance, 498. When did we make our payment?
25th.
Okay, so 1/25, we're finally going to make a payment. And so if we make a payment, we're going to add or subtract? Subtract, and subtract how much?
200.
200. So in this section right here, what's my amount that we would have. 298.67, right? So basically, we're doing the exact same chart that we did yesterday, except we're not worrying about our purchases, we're only worrying about the payment. So, how many days did this balance occur? 1 to the 25th, right? So, this would be 24 days. And what's my grand total then? Jeffrey? Calculate. 498.67 times 24. Somebody else do it too. So we're verifying with Jeff. With Donald's.
968.08.
Anybody else?
I got that too. I can confirm.
Oh, okay. So that's one.
Yeah, cause you're not found. Best source.
Alright, so then we're gonna say 298.67 would be for how many days? Because there's nothing else, right? But we gotta go to the end of the cycle. How many days are in January?
31.
31, so we have how many days? 6?
Is it 6 or 5? Do you count 20?
Where do you go when you get to the
So,
end?
good question.
31 minutes, 25.
This, if this is where my payment is, the 25th is gonna be in this section.
Mr. Taylor,
July and August, both have 31 days.
So that's where you gotta be careful, right? So we got 7.
how do you do this?
Start on your pinky finger. January, February, March, April, May, June, July. All of those have 31. And then put your knuckles together. August, September, October, November.
I'm not
December.
gonna remember that.
So back-to-back knuckles are 31. So July and August both have 31.
Oh. Okay. Doesn't one of them have like a weird amount?
January, February, March, April, May, June, July. Then they switch over. August, September,
February is-
October.
And then the knuckles at a 30.
Isn't February
Knuckles
like
are 31.
28 and May 20?
February is 28. Unless it's a leap year. Then you're-
It's 29.
I didn't.
29.
February is 28? Yeah.
February is 28. So your down is either 30 or 28. All of them have 30 except February that has
Okay.
28. So all the top knuckles have 31.
Give me a month.
June.
January, February, March, April, May,
I got it.
30.
For the quiz, I'm gonna write 28 right here.
We just write all the numbers.
All right. Jeffrey, 298.67 times 7.
2090.69. So it's 3.
Everybody else?
Yes.
Donald, your phone works a lot better than your calculator? Okay? All right. Everybody good?
Yes. So we're only doing June.
Easton's figuring something out.
Easton, your mustache is gross.
Easton, I think that's sexy.
I think your hair is gross.
I think
Oh.
it's
That would be
all.
not bad.
Add, up or down?
Oh, okay, so you take your 298 times your 7 plus your 1968.
No, I'm gonna take all of this plus all of this.
Okay,
That's 11,000.
14,058.77. And 58.
What was this say?
77. You said that so random.
Yeah, that was weird.
14,058.
I think you had 2 decimals. And. Okay, so, what do I do now?
Divided by.
Divide by 30.
Perfect.
20, 31.
Why am I dividing by 31?
January.
Number of days in January. Somebody do the math, please.
Jeff,
Jeff,
did you get your list out with the bank or the bank?
453.51 pieces with this 30 stash.
Point what? Okay,
Yes, 2 correct.
concentrate. So, now what do I do?
Take 290.
Times that by 0.015.
Right, because now I'm looking for, so again, what does this mean? This means my average amount that I had on my credit card throughout the month. Right? Because the first 24 days I had 498, the last 7 I had 298, so it brought this down a little bit, right? That would make sense, right? Because it's an average. Okay? So this is now, when I do my multiplication, again, if this would have said that it was an APR, I would have taken this divided by 12, because we always want it monthly. But they already gave it to us as a monthly one, so now we just have to move the decimal. and my finance charge was how much?
$6.80.
$6.80. So, it just, I believe, asks for your finance charge. If it asks for the next balance, I'm going to add this back to that. Because right now, this is where I'm at, right? This is the total that's still on my credit card that I owe. So I'm getting charged $6.80 because of that money. That makes sense? Okay, so if they said new balance, I would just add those together and that's my new balance. So the only difference from yesterday to today is the chart got bigger yesterday because we did all of those payments and such. Again now, some of it's confusing how many days it is. Just start counting the days in your hands if you have to. Right? First, second, third, fourth, blah, blah, blah. Okay? And that'll help you. Alright? So again, it's how many days would it be that? When you make a payment, that payment ends up on the day that you've made the payment.
Why wouldn't it be 25?
Calculator hates me.
Don't we do they subtract them and then add one?
Yeah,
Okay.
but 25 minus 1 is 24.
Yeah.
No, but you're not including this one right here, so you're really doing 24 minus 1 is 23 plus 1. This date right here, when I make the payment, that pushes me to the next time.
So when we do this, we don't add to this date?
Well, but see, the range of this amount is from the 1st to the 24th.
Oh.
So then I would take 24 minus 1 is 23 plus 1 is 24.
Okay.
See what I'm saying? So when they tell me it's a payment, that the day before is my last day of that kind of cycle of that amount.
Also,
You said like if it's an APR,
Listen, please.
if it's an APR and they give you the APR and it's like monthly, you divide it by 12 before you times it by that
Yes.
number?
Right here.
Well, that would be like,
If it's daily, I look at the next one. See how it says it's a daily periodic rate? They already do it for you. So then all you have to do is move the decimal 2 places.
Can I go backwards?
Yes.
why would we move the decimal?
Because see, it's a percent though. It says daily periodic rate of something percent. So I want it as a decimal, so I still have to move my decimal 2 places. So if it's a daily percent, it's gonna be really, really tiny. Because you're putting that percent per day. So it's really, really small. Okay? Kind of what Justice asked earlier. His rate or our rate for savings accounts is really, really small right now because banks can't afford giving us money.
If I had $2,000 in there, over the year I'd make $3.
Right.
Big bang.
I could just give
Okay.
you $3.
So, questions?
Molly, no, you couldn't.
Actually,
No,
no,
you
we
can't.
can't, because then I'll have a $1 loan.
You want to do D?
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
Really, really?
D going.
I got paid today. I literally.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, if you do not want to do D, here's your assignment.
2 is 187.
5 through 10. 9 and 10 are 2 points.
There's your problems. If you want to do D, you're more than welcome to do D with us. So read D.
D.
Those of you that aren't doing D, be quiet and start on your assignment.
Jorge.
Jorge has a credit card with a beginning balance on 3/1 of 221.48. So, again, 221.48. 3/1. Previous balance. All right? He made a payment of $150 on 3/15.
Big money.
So again, this is how many days?
That is
14 minus 1 is 13 plus 1 is 14 days. So I take these two and I'm going to multiply for my grand total in this column right here. So take 221.48 times 14.
3,172.
How many cents?
72. Wait. 3,172 cents.
That was weird how you said that one too. He made other purchases during the month totaling, if the credit card has a daily, applied to the average daily balance excluding new purchases, what are his finance charges? So, the next sentence, this is kind of a good one actually for everybody if you want a quick look. They told you what his other purchases were for this month, but then it says that the credit card company doesn't use those for their tallying or calculating the finance charge. So you would just throw that sentence out,
Trickery.
okay? So, how many days, or sorry, what was my, so payment, which would be minus, what was it, 150?
$50.
Okay, so we have 48, 7148 left over. How many days are in
31.
31? So in 331, from 315 to 331, how many days would that be?
16.
16?
17.
17 days? Perfect. So 17 times 7148.
2,550.
Straight up. Add these two together.
Oh, wait.
56, 50, 72.
Yeah. And then you gotta do that with your
Divided by 31. Okay.
daily periodic rate. I think Jeff fixed Donald's everything. Or Donald just
And then
182.28 is what I got at that division.
yeah, what?
182.28.
Well, somebody's not right with this one.
Oh, I know what happened then.
Okay. Oh, Donald did it again. I spoke too soon. I think it's just Donald. Alright, it should
So
be
the
five,
two-
it should be
2,565
565.
is 1,223.
You weren't even close.
The first one was right, I promise.
No, I have 28, 79, 24.
Oh, I did get 3172.
Yeah, it's
For the first one, I did.
Yeah, see.
221 times 148 times 14. I did get 3100.
So I'm dumb, he's dumb too, right?
Wow.
Lisa's always been done.
That's a fact. She's right. But I mean, can we just get off the subject?
What are you talking about? Everyone.
I got a total of 4,324.3.
72.
Now, the next one was how much?
1,223.66.
Say it one more time.
1,223.66.
Grand total?
4,324.38.
Divided by 31.
139.4950.
139.34.
49.
49.
You got 34. Yeah, 49.
Times 0.000575.
Oh, this is the most confusing. How are you reading this number?
Now, here's the difference. So everybody pay attention real quick. In D, they say that it was a daily one. So again, they give you the percentage, you move it 2 decimal places, but then you also have to multiply this by 31 days. So if it's daily, you divide, use that number times your percentage times the number of days.
Why did we divide it by 2?
Why did we?
Yeah.
Yeah, technically, wouldn't you not have to if you're the warranty?
Probably not.
I got 249.
You got how much?
249.
$2.49.
What'd you get?
$2.49.
Okay.
What'd you get?
What'd you get,
I'm
Donald?
gonna argue.
What'd you get, Donald?
You really wanna know?
Yeah.
No, Donald, I don't.
I want to know. What'd you get?
I don't know.
I really do.